Well, hello everybody and welcome. We are Lizzie and Justin from Thirdspace, and we are here again, Lizzie, for Turning Towards Life. It's our 426th week, and you are all so welcome to be with us. And we are very shortly going to do the ordinary thing that we do, which is that, Lizzie, you have brought us a source, a really wonderful piece of writing that is going to be the fountainhead for this conversation, and the source will enter the conversation by you and I reading it, and then we'll see what conversation unfolds, which is always a very exciting thing to do. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be in a regular practice and how practice changes us, and this for me has become over these years a very central life practice. So it's joyful and settling and supportive for me to be here with you and to be beginning and to be surrounded, we know, by so many people. So to all of you who are those so many people, whether you are the podcast, you found us on YouTube, or you've headed over to our Turning Towards Life website where you can find all the sources and all the videos, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you want to, in one way or another, come in closer to us and our work, you could head over to wearethirdSpace.org. We have a 2-day Foundations of Coaching program coming up in February, which we're very excited about. And our year-long professional coaching course begins in summer 2026. And we have applications coming in already. So if you're interested in that, you can find out there. And on Turning Towards Life, you can sign up for our weekly email. You can find out about our in-person on Zoom program called Turning Towards Life Live. You can support us in many, many ways, and you can contact us. And we love hearing from you. So with all of those welcomes and all of those encouragements and invitations, I'm going to say welcome to you again, and hello, Lizzie.
Thank you, Justin. And firstly, I want to say hello to Ella, who I hope is going to be listening to this at some point and who wrote this poem that we're going to bring today. And I want to thank Ella for her writing from the heart. And it was such a beautiful thing to receive this from her this week. We were in a gathering together, and this was her kind of checkout. It was so beautifully crafted, and she brought it at the end as a kind of summation of what had happened in the day for her. And when it came, I had been looking for what this source was, and it just landed as, oh, that's it. There we go. Somebody just handed it to me. So Ella, thank you for that. And thank you for, as I said, writing from your heart in this way. So, Justin, I'm going to read, and then we'll see how this takes us. I bring my small universe with me, the part that simmers, the part that stews, the part that grows roots in uncertainty and still feels everything. And yet I remain my own, autonomous, upright, or lying down, always a quiet spine of presence in the storm light of relation. This is the work, to stand stable without hardening, to share without dissolving, to hold the field without being claimed by it, to become a place. I remember myself as both flame and vessel.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Ella. It's always such generosity, Lizzie, I think, for anybody to write anything and put it in the world. Mm-hmm. It's a really no small thing. And Ella, to gift us this writing of yours. We are very grateful. So this poem by Ella you can find in the show notes on the Turning Towards Life website, in our weekly email, all those places. I bring my small universe with me. The part that simmers, the part that stews, the part that grows roots in uncertainty and still feels everything. And yet I remain my own, autonomous, upright, or lying down, always a quiet spine of presence in the stormlight of relation. This is the work, to stand stable without hardening, to share without dissolving, to hold the field without being claimed by it, to become a place. I remember myself as both flame and vessel.
So beautiful, Justin. Thank you. To have that read by you to me in this moment and feel the truth of it in my system is very beautiful. And as I sit here and receive it, I'm so moved by this invitation that is calling to me from here, from this poem, about including myself really fully, whilst also knowing that I'm in service to others at the same time. And what an incredible simultaneity that is. You know, we often talk, Justin, about the kind of all these things being right side by side and us being multitudes. And this feels like a very particular multitudinous. Because, of course, as I stand here, there's all my history, all my stuff, all my traumas, all my joys, all my situation, all my circumstances, all of those things, they belong to me and I am that. And at the same time, I'm also in service of others, where lots of that doesn't really get to feature. And so in this conversation that we were in, Ella and I, this week, Justin, in a group, we were moving between, okay, I'm at the center and I need some support. And then in the next round, as it were, I would be supporting. So it was this really beautiful dance between being really supported and then serving. And the order of that would have been different for each person in the group, kind of thing. So I'm loving that this articulation has come out of it, because it's a distilling of what was going on there, which was that we get to be fully heard, fully listened to, fully held in whatever our own uprightness is, our own autonomy and our own story and our own universe. But then we get to be the holding space for others, and we give something back, that there's a kind of reciprocity in it. So I'm seeing this week the workshop that I held with our lovely Nina, also from Thirdspace. It's an expression of reciprocity, an incredible expression of reciprocity that I hadn't kind of named as that yet. So I'm grateful for Ella kind of articulating it on reflection of what it was like to be there in this very particular way, where we get to be fully ourselves and fully held. And then we dance between that and being the holding. And what a beautiful kind of power shift as well, to be kind of the vulnerable one in the middle saying, I need something, knowing that doesn't take away from our capacity. If it actually builds our capacity to be of service to others, and that we don't have to be one or the other all the time. We can move between them fluidly, and they serve one another in that spirit of reciprocity as well.
I know, I don't think you said this part, Lizzie, that the group that you and Ella were in on Friday was a group of graduates from our year-long coaching program, so people who've stayed interested in learning something with us and being with one another in their own development and their own unfolding and their own deepening capacity to be of service to others. And I wanted to say that as a prelude to something that occurred to me whilst you were speaking, which I think Ella has pointed towards in this writing, and then you've pointed us towards, and it was to do with, for any of us who want to be of service to other people. Oh, the other part I needed to say was that the day that you were running was to do with how to give and receive support when you're somebody who supports other people. It was to do with that kind of process of mutual supervision. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how much there are many people in the world who want to be of service to others. Not everyone does, but many people do. And for anybody who finds themselves in some kind of being of service or helping others role in their lives, the question about how we go about being of service and how we hold the identity of being someone who's of service is an incredibly important question, and one that we don't always look at. There's some of us help by abandoning ourselves, for example. Like our mode of helping is that we feel something absent that we desperately want to fill in, and we imagine that if we help enough, then we'll fill enough that sense. It will fill the hole in me, and we can in many ways be of great service that way. But it can also produce a kind of desperation and also a kind of sacrificial kind of attitude.
Mm.
And then others of us want to be of service, and we recognize that in order to be that, we're going to have to strengthen ourselves or fill ourselves up. And it's possible to go the other way, which is I won't begin to make myself available to the world until I've sort of prepared myself endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those ends can be very compelling. They sort of serve a need, the ones of us who wait and the ones of us who overextend and exhaust ourselves, and probably the people we're serving in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, Ella's words point right into the necessary complexity and depth of both giving and receiving that are required for anyone who wants to serve, to bring our small universes with us, and to remain our own, to stand stable without hardening, to share without dissolving, to hold the field without being claimed by it. Like, there is absolutely necessary dignity in both making ourselves available and not forgetting ourselves in the process. And I wanted to name it that way because I think for many of us, it's a really practical question, this. Like, for those of us who feel like we can't give of ourselves until we're totally ready and we can face all of the vulnerability of it, we rob ourselves in the world of our presence. But for those of us who just exhaust ourselves by overgiving, and so we rob ourselves in the world of something much more mature. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think Ella's the words in this poem in a way are wonderfully mystical and deep, and there's some more I want to say about that as we go. But I actually think there's an incredibly practical invitation here, which is Ella says, this is the work. And we can ask ourselves, how do I stand stable without hardening, and share without dissolving, and hold the field without being claimed by it? It's a wonderfully rich, potent, pragmatic question for any of us to ask if we want to be up to anything in the world.
Gosh, there's so much in here that's kind of noodling away as you're talking in me, Justin. I feel like this is, I think I'm using this word in the right way, like the kind of paradoxical nature of things, like when both things are true at the same time, and maybe also neither is true kind of realms, where I can be stable but not hard. I can hold without being claimed. It's like there's some kind of inner, like I was feeling, I think I said this before, it's like a dance. And of course, in a dance, we're still connected to one something as we're doing another thing at the same time. Like there's an innate human capacity to be held by you and also hold myself, or to be led by you and to be following you. Like there's this two things happening at once thing that seems really important as a kind of reflection, that I don't have to be just one of those things. And we went to the theatre last night, Justin, and we saw The Importance of Being Earnest with Stephen Fry in it at the Noel Coward Theatre in St Martin's Lane. And there was this really brilliant actress who, she did this gesture, basically, that kind of was threaded through the whole thing, where when she was very, very riled and very cross, she just made a kind of single gesture with her finger. And as she did it, everybody jumped back. And it was this, I was thinking it just looked so obvious. It was so brilliant. It was so masterful. It was so brilliant. And I thought, my goodness, what would have had to have happened for that to be real in them, that their bodies were connected, like the two actors, and actually it was more than two who were responding to her making this gesture. But it was so seamless and brilliant. And I was thinking about the relationship that would have been required and the understanding of all kinds of things in order for their bodies to react to her body without any language being spoken. That meant you have to jump away from me now because I'm really angry, kind of thing. And it was very feisty and humorous and kind of camp and wonderful. And so it was a lot of expression, but so much relationship needed to be there in order for the giving and the receiving, the impulse and the response to happen. And I feel like it's somehow an expression of that as well. Like in ourselves, that relationship exists. You know, I have some kind of impulse, some kind of something that's my uprightness, as it were. And then there's also the response in me too. And so I could respond to my stability by hardening. And then that happens. Like I can feel it in myself. Like when I think, okay, I'm going to be really solid here, there's a kind of an associated kind of hardening that happens because of the nature of stableness. But then with this kind of consciousness that Ella's bringing, there's an invitation to say, okay, so when the stableness comes, I can also not harden. I can also soften at the same time. And I feel like that kind of, I don't know, the first instance, the kind of, the impulse is also then we can be conscious about the way we respond to the impulse, which makes simultaneity possible. You know, when I'm feeling particularly creative, for example, and I've got lots of energy running through me, at the same time, I have to say to myself, slow down. Because if I don't slow down, I'll miss this whole thing or something will go awry. It's like I know that the kind of creative impulse or the reactivity, even the initial something that's like, or I think it's almost like a bodily something. My consciousness, my awareness then gets to help me decide what else too. Like if I feel angry, how do I, what do I do with that? Or I feel this stability, how does that manifest and what do I also need to do? Or I'm holding the field. I'm holding a conversation or something. How do I include myself as well? So I'm really kind of taken by this impulse and response and how I can be fully myself. And there's also ways to add to it with my consciousness so that it has the impact that I'm wanting to have, or the what's the word? I don't know, like the word temperance is coming. Like as in there's some mitigation or something so that my anger doesn't just become me just getting riled with you, but I'm going, okay, I feel angry. What do I care about? Why is this so important to me? Like, so maybe like reflection as well is in there too, to feel like how do I accompany myself in this experience with the things I'm aware of, and what do I want here?
When you were talking about the importance of being earnest, it struck me that I'm imagining the scene. I've seen the same production as you, but with different actors earlier on, so it might have changed quite a lot since I've seen it. I'm imagining the response to this gesture, and that when you're acting, this very what's the word? It sounds like demonstrative, forceful gesture from one of the actors, and how everyone responds. That not when you see them acting, you're not actually seeing people reacting from their frightened parts. What you're seeing is a very well rehearsed dance that they're doing with one another that's real. And it reminded me of, for some years I used to do kickboxing, and the part of kickboxing I found incredibly joyful and incredibly hard, but the part that I found most hard but also most brilliant was sparring with another person. And when you spar with another person, and when you're not really actually trying to hurt one another, what you're trying to do is trying to be in the practice together. There's an enormous amount of give and take that happens in it. One person swings and you duck, and somebody jabs and you come out of the way, or you block, and in order to do it well, which was very hard for me, what you have to do is you have to relax all of your trying to control the situation, all of the way I would try to oh, I've got to get this right kind of mode. You have to sort of relax it and become incredibly spacious and incredibly receptive, so that as someone's movement comes towards you, you can respond in kind. And it's a kind of openness. And actually, the rigidifying makes you much more likely to get hit and to get knocked over, but being too floppy or something means you're going to get hit. So there's a sort of holding this place in between, which is the things that you're saying, and it's also Ella's language of a sort of quiet spine of presence in the stormlight of being in this relationship. It's a sort of responsiveness that's available to us. And so much of what you were saying reminded me of that, maybe because the thought came to me early on as you were talking. And it has all of this and in it. It's give and take. It's uprightness and softness. It's responding and having something to say. It's being myself and being in contact with the other who is other. It's neither domination nor submission. And it seems to me that it's that mode, being both flame and vessel, as Ella so beautifully puts it. That mode is so called for from us. So as you were talking, I was thinking obviously about coaches and therapists, and then I was thinking about aid workers, and then I was thinking about being a mother or a father, or someone's partner, or a sibling, or a colleague. This quality is called for, helps us everywhere, and right now we are living in a world that is really, really rewarding polarization, are rigidifying and yelling at one another and being absolutely sure that we're right. It's all over the place. It's like becoming the sort of dominant mode of our culture to feel self-righteous and better than other people and wanting to tell them, and it's so far from this. And in the end, it's so unhelpful. It doesn't help us ever meet one another. And there's something both very gentle and strong that's called for in what Ella's saying. So I'm really moved by it. It's lovely to say it and to hear you talking about it and to read Ella talk about it. And I want to just say that there's one line that for me has, as we've been talking, has become incredibly resonant, which is this line that sits on its own with a space after it near the end, which when I read the poem, I wanted to read it with real attention, which is to become a place. What amazing language. What is it to become a place? It's so different from so many of the other things we might become. And it reminded me that in the Jewish tradition, in Hebrew, the word for the divine presence, one of the words, there are many, 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 many words, like in Islam, there's all these different words for God. But one of the words is hamakom, which means the place. So the place, to be a place, is to be something of the divine presence, that which can hold everything and respond to everything. And I don't know what Ella meant by writing the words, but all of those associations are coming up in me, and I feel very called to the practice of becoming a place as much as I can, and to meet other people that way.
Yes. My gosh, Justin, I think we have to do a whole something about that. That feels massive. And I was just thinking of me and my trajectory of life and how for so many years I so was not a place. You know, my walls were like my walls, my boundaries were my end of body kind of thing. And whether something met my preferences and my needs and it was like all about me. And I can see that really clearly and how necessary that is also to have a period of life that has that in it. And then as I review, like somehow there's like a spectrum or something or a journey of placeness I can see of how much of a place am I being a question over time. And that question becoming more answerable as I've gone along and, you know, goodness knows what, messed things up, met lots of people, been on goodness knows like the inner journeys of things and all the complexity of life happening to me and whatever. And I can feel I don't know what the word is, like deepening or something in the context of how much of a place can I be for myself and my own development and therefore others as well. And I feel like it's got wider and wider and wider over the years, and there's still loads of widening to do. You know, I can feel that when you said I'm dedicated to becoming that, to being that. And of course, your placeness is huge, Justin. And what an incredible articulation for there to be in the world that we could intend upon becoming more of a place or more spacious a place or just a place itself, and how to I don't know, craft some deeper intentions out of that show us what a place actually feels like when it's healing, when it's inviting, when it's welcoming, when it's kind, when it's warm, when it's fierce, when it's has kind of advocacy in it, or like to articulate what the place might feel like, might be like, in order for it to turn up as a place in our lives. And I'm feeling the reciprocity in that, and I know over the years too, I've become a place for others, but primarily I've become a place for myself. Like when things happen that are really difficult, my reactions to myself are so different than they were before. Like it's quite unusual these days for me to even like beat myself up about something, which I would have done loads before. But the place I am is a kinder, warmer place that says, well, yeah, that's life and these things happen. And so I feel like my inner parent, if you like, that responds to the happenings of life and the circumstances has got some really, really good placeness in it that allows me to not collapse and not disappear and not kind of withdraw like I might have done at one point, but to stay the flame and the vessel, and to include myself, hold myself, as well as be in service to other people. And I'm feeling that somehow that articulation of place, like you just said it, is really, I don't know, having me see myself in some way. I'm really grateful for that.
Place is such an evocative word. Like, I'm just conjuring up in myself places that matter to me.
Mm.
And we might say, this is the place. You know, when we will walk into a room, you just get that feeling of where we want to be. This is the place. As you were talking about your experience of this, I was thinking about how for so many years I wasn't a place because I didn't have the boundaries between me. I would give up myself so often in order to be whatever anybody else wanted me to be in order to belong, and have my own opinions about things. And so we know a place because it has a boundary to it. The universe itself isn't a place, it's the universe. You know, the place has a certain kind of scale to it, and could be very, very big, and it can be quite small
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is about when we start to think about places, we can become place makers. And what is it to make a place? What is it to make a place of welcome? What is it to make a place of fierceness, or a place of truthfulness, or a place of love? And also, I was thinking as you were talking about how when we make place well, we attend to what's it like to be here in this place, and how do all the different things in this place, the chairs and the floor and the art and the warmth and the how do they bring about and become an affordance for whatever it is
Okay.
that matters to us. And also then things happen in places that a life-giving place doesn't control what you do. It invites possibilities. It invites ways of relating. So when we go to a place that is designed well for conversation,
Mm.
we find ourselves talking and listening well to other people. And when we go to a place that's designed well for joyous, raucous celebration, we feel called towards that. Like places can be invitations. So there's so much in there's so much possibility in first wondering what it is to attend to being a place, to becoming a place, and then second, starting to see how much influence we can have, how much care we can bring to the kind of place that we are. Not the place that this is a different conversation from the place that we take. You know, taking up our places is a different kind of conversation. This is being a place
Mm-hmm.
in which we, as you said, you can attend to your own presence in the place, and we can also be a wide enough place in which other people can be present with us. So I'm feeling very opened again by the actual day-to-day living ways of observing and practicing and cultivating things that these words call us into.
I think we're almost at our time to end, Justin, but I just wanted to say when you're speaking this way, I can feel that this is a really wonderful bit of language for what Thirdspace is. And because it's a collective of people and it's got lots of community inside of it, it is a place that enables us to be places. But it's the place that people come when they want to be places for others as well as themselves. So whenever we do anything, Justin, there's often a kind of theme of people feeling like a kind of homecoming. And I've heard that so many times in the things that we've done. And I know the feedback sometimes about this Turning Towards Life set of conversations is that there's a kind of, it's clearly we're making a place by doing this together as well, this kind of place that you're talking about. And we have intentions inside of it, like feeling like we're being inclusive and we're being kind and we're being welcoming and we're being straightforward. And there's lots of attributes to the place that we're making. So I love what this is birthing in me as a way of thinking about us and life and Thirdspace. And I want to thank Ella, who in some way has kind of unwittingly and geniusly brought this piece of writing forth that says so much about what it is that we're up to in the world and how central it is to be talking about this now and having this as our source. So thank you, Ella, and thank you, Justin, for this creative thing. And I think I kind of want to ask you, Justin, to write something about placeness. And I don't know if that's a bit daring because, sometimes it's not the most creative thing to ask somebody to do something. But when you started talking about it, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, I want to know more of this together. Maybe I could write something too." But I just feel like when you said something, I was like, "Ooh, I think this is a Justin thing." Um, anyway, thank you everybody for listening to us and being with us and hearing us and receiving us and having this as a place that you come. It's a great honor. And thank you, Justin, for
Thank you,
being here
everyone.
today.
Thank you, Lizzie. Bye.